Shooting incidents in New York City dropped more than 16% in June of 2023 compared to a year ago. And although there are some decreases in some areas of crime, violence continues to plague the city.
Yeah, so how are other cities doing? What is working in the fight against crime? It's all being explored during a 2-hour special on crime in America, hosted by our next guest. And from our sister network, News Nation, we welcome award-winning journalist and host Chris Cuomo to the show. Good morning, Chris.
How are you? Thank you very much for having me on this morning.
All right, Chris, let's go ahead and jump right in. You're hosting this special edition of your Monday night show, Crime in America. Why was this important for you?
This is the News Nation mandate, is to get back to discussing things that are of concern to the country, as opposed to just the game between the left and the right and which is worse. And all you hear about crime is platitudes and scary talk. So we want to break down the reality as we see it across the country. Of course, you're going to have a very different distribution of concerns, but it's an important dialogue. I mean, in New York City, crime is a constant discussion point. And the question for us here as New York City guys is the perception the same as the reality? You know, everybody's afraid right now. Anybody who's a strap hanger, you know, who's on the subways, believe they're going to be really bad things. And some of the metrics support that. But how real is the problem? And just as importantly, what's being done to combat it? I think a big reason that the New York City mayor passed up on our invitation, and he was absolutely, Mayor Adams, invited, is he's in a fix. It was bad when he got in. He's in a party that wants a certain kind of policing. He may be going in a different direction. That's tough to explain to his party. But he also has perception problems because there's a lot of shoplifting and there's a lot of property crime, and his job is to make it better. So these are tough conversations to have, and you got to respect the officials who step up to have them.
Yeah, I mean, he said from the very beginning, he's the mayor that's going to get stuff done, and New Yorkers expect it. But can you tell us what we're going to expect from this show? I believe you have a live audience. What can they expect to see?
Yeah, from a TV perspective, it'll be very town hall-y. Why? It's my favorite format. I loved it when I was at CNN, but I like this better because it's not focused on one individual and his or her feelings and how they message and all that. So we'll have mayors from across the country. We're trying to focus on cities that aren't the biggest cities, but they don't usually get the attention, and that matters, and they're a core constituency for News Nation. We're not just for big cities or for the coasts. So you have live audience in Chicago, you'll have it in Texas, Fort Worth, you'll have it in New York City. I'll be working with them throughout. I'll have officials from across the country who are mayors of cities that matter in terms of problem, but also ambition with solutions. When it comes to things that are more culture related, like how do you deal with homelessness? How do you deal with poverty, right? Because those are going to be drivers of crime. It's not as simple. I hope people know, or they will after this, that you can't just punish your way out of crime.
Well, people want to know what works.
Officials, cops, advocates, all of it. Well, they want to know most of all that you're trying.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's what they want to know. That instead of just telling them it'll be worse if it's Hazel instead of me, they want to know that I'll make it better and that I'm doing things in furtherance of that.
Okay, so we love the idea that you're using officials from all over the country. Was there anything specifically or a success story that you've heard about that really will kind of pinpoint what you're trying to highlight across the country?
Yes. There are multiple cities. I don't want to just give one credit, but there are multiple cities who've embraced the concerns of community by doing what's hard, which is they up policing, they up prosecutions, which is a big problem in New York City, but they have also spent the money and created the infrastructure to make the move of taking somebody who could be incarcerated now, but probably will just then become a victim of crime college, and put the money into another avenue to dignity. Whether it's job training or rehabilitating their education plan, figuring out the personal issues that are involved. And those cities have seen that the expenditures on crime actually go down, even though top line on the budget they're spending more. But that's a tough sell politically. People don't want to help people who do bad things, even if they're addicts. So we got to break it down and get through a lot of our phobias and our prejudices.
Yeah, people just want to know that there is hope that it can get better. Chris, thanks so much for being with us this morning. We really appreciate your time.
I appreciate you giving me the time. Thank you very much. Love the show.
You got it. The special town hall edition of Cuomo entitled Crime in America. It's going to take place this coming Monday, July 31st on News Nation. News Nation, of course, our sister network and owned by our parent company Nexstar. It's Monday at 8 o'clock.